Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down 3 industry headlines, to provide some actual fucking insight into this industry, as opposed to what most headlines do. And it's just to get you to click on them, read the first sentence, and say, oh, fuck this article, and move on with your day. Most importantly, you guys, we're here about education. We're here to give you some information that you can apply and utilize and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Most importantly, because it's the reason why I fly that American flag behind me proudly every single day, is because we are here to let people and to help people live that American dream like I'm living every single day. We're not going to get to 3 articles today, as a lot of you are aware. We're going to break down one headline, and a lot of these headlines, this one in particular is something that is a lot of people are very passionate about. And, frankly, it's also the importance of knowing what you sign up for prior to signing up for those said documents. But as always, you guys, before the comments are blowing up, this is awesome. I'm fucking so pumped you guys are all here today. Got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. You guys, they're the ones who keep this neon light on for us every single day. Whether you're a shipper, broker, or carrier alike, we all need trailers. If you're a broker, which a lot of us are who are in this audience, creating a drop trailer pool is going to help separate yourself from the competition that's out there. And then if you are a carrier, you should never have to shut down your operation if your trailer's in the shop out there. So with what we're working on right now, you guys, and the best part about VHub, you get paid to do all of this. So talk about a phenomenal way to overcome rising fuel costs, maintenance costs, and everything else that are out there. So if you're out in the Paragould, Arkansas area, and you got Canadian Authority looking to head up to Delta, BC, get paid $18.50 US to do that. And then if you don't have Canadian Authority, then you can only go down to the States. They need it brought over to Orting, Washington, which is just outside of Tacoma. You get paid $15.50 to do that. And that's on top of the freight, the value of the freight that you put in the back of that trailer. So you can turn these into some nice runs. And then they also have them down in West Palm Beach, Florida. And they also going up to Milton, Ontario. And then they also have them going to Côte Saint-Luc, Quebec, which is, I believe, just outside of Montreal. I'm working on my French a little bit, though. And again, you get paid $1,500 to do that, you guys. So hit them up, vhubapp.com. My man, Xavier Campos, and my friend Stacey Steen, they'll be in the audience here in a little bit. And without further ado, going to give some shout outs out here in the audience already because the comments are blowing up. Scott, what's up, Freight Sensei? Drop him a follow, you guys. He's a phenomenal, he's a good dude. I like Scott a lot. Andrea, good morning. Chris Hunter, good morning. Let's go. LinkedIn user, Kyle Lintner, Matt Fink, Todd Waldron, whomever you are behind that. Good morning, everybody. Casey Sawyer, you're right. Let's fucking go. Drew Driscoll, happy hump day. Bill McIntyre, Zach Williams, you're right, sir. Let's fucking go. Aaron Boykins, good to see you in the audience this morning. Connor Foster, I will freight you up, sir. Brandon Wineland, good morning. Sonny Sharma, good morning. Bob, good morning. Cody, what's up, brother? Good to see you again. Let's fucking go. You are right. That is right, Casey. It is loud and proud, the Fuck Tally gang sounding off. Julia Olaskoga, happy hump day. Let's go. Follow One Call Logistics, you guys. Give her a shout. She's putting herself out there, you guys, as we all should. All right, I'm going to bring the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Leffler on the show. He's cleaning his glasses right now. We're catching him at a wrong moment. We're here to talk about our favorite thing, and that is what is known as a non-compete today. So, Armchair Attorney, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining me.
I am so excited to talk about this case, the lawsuit, and all sorts of things about our wonderful friend, the Post-Employment Restrictive Covenant, in this case, the non-competition agreement.
Yes, and I love it. I'm going to start out and say this. I am 1000% vehemently against non-competes. I think they are a fucking joke overall. Freight Coach Enterprises is the company I own, and any other companies that I do own in the future will never have a non-compete. I think that I am not against holding anybody back from going out and doing what they want with their lives. I do believe in freedom. But this is, to me, most importantly, you guys, this is why you need to read the stuff that we sign in pre-employment agreements, post-employment agreements, everything like that. You need to read the fine print before you go and sign in that dotted line. And, it's very, because like there are very real repercussions that can happen. And everybody's excited for a new job and everything else that's out there. And, frankly, companies got to protect themselves. That's why some of these documents, whether you agree with them or not, are in place, is companies are going to protect themselves, and us as the individual need to be aware of what we're signing. But I know you got a lot to say.
I got a lot to cover here, Chris.
I know you do.
Here's the deal, everybody. This is not a case about a non-competition agreement. I want to be very clear. This is not about a non-competition agreement. Let me read some facts to you about this case. A guy named Jacob Patterson gets a job at a company called TQL, Total Quality Logistics, over 13 years ago. Works there for 13 years at that company. And then he says, I want to do something different. Now, let me bear in mind one thing. To your point about the post-employment restrictive covenants, when you get the job, they did not give him that contract until 5 months into that role. He didn't see that going in. That came to him after the fact. But let's fast forward. He says, I don't think this job is for me anymore. I want to do something different. But he knows he has that post-employment restrictive covenant. Now, that covenant, I'm going to read a little bit. Because look, I printed the stuff off and I read it because this stuff makes me furious. And if you're not furious right now, you will be. Yes. What is this competing business they say he can't do? Quote, the term competing business is any person, firm, corporation, or entity that is engaged in shipping, third-party logistics, freight brokerage, truck brokerage, or supply chain management. That is literally anything. He gets a job at a truckload company, a trucking company. That company is called PBJ Express. He goes on to that company, and this isn't really competing necessarily with TQL because it's not a brokerage company. It's a shipping company, trucking company. They sue him, and they threaten to sue his new company. This man is married with 5 children, and his only goal is to provide for his family. But TQL will have none of that. Yeah. Now, let me talk about TQL's non-competition agreement. This contract has been litigated over and over and over, and TQL loses very often. However, under the laws of the state of Ohio, they can remake the contract by the judge. And so that contract becomes enforceable. In this context, only TQL can recover their attorney's fees when they sue on this stuff. The person who gets sued can't do it. Now, this is the part that I want to focus on. This is the part that really matters. This is the heart of the case of tortious interference with a prospective business arrangement. Jacob says, I can't work for this trucking company anymore. I have to leave. He starts talking to a company called USI. It's an insurance services company. And he has a pathway to a job. He has a pathway to a job. But then what happens is a phone call by Chris Brown, allegedly Chris Brown, not the Chris Brown you hate already, a different Chris Brown you'll likely hate soon after this.
Not the pop star Chris Brown.
Anyways. Not the pop star Chris Brown, but someone else you might not like after you hear this. Chris Brown calls, allegedly, based on this complaint, calls the senior leadership team of USI, one of their providers for insurance, and says, if you hire this guy, it's not going to go well. Whether that's a threat to pull the business or whether that's a threat to say, we're going to make it difficult for you. And that is why USI allegedly in this complaint says, we are not going to proceed any further with you, Jacob. A man who has spent his career helping people safely move freight on time and undamaged cannot find a job because a $7 billion company with a B makes it so you can't find a job. So yes, we do understand that non-competes or contracts, you should understand when you sign them. You should do that. But if you are following what TQL is doing here, they are trying to punish somebody for trying to better their lives. 5 kids, a wife. It is absolutely horrifying that a company like TQL would do this. I would say this. I'm not the lawyer for any of these people involved, but if my son, when he gets into the time of trying to find a job, as I have an opportunity to work with TQL, my advice to him is do not work for that company. Yeah. Do not spend a minute with a company that would try to screw you from providing from your kids at a completely separate business. This Chris Brown, if this is accurate, I cannot wait to read the depositions, to look at the interrogatories and see what it is that they actually did, what the text messages say. You should be angry about this. I
Yeah.
posted about non-competition agreements last week. I had over 40,000 engagements, but that doesn't matter. I had dozens of people who reached out to me and said how these things have ruined their lives. What Steve Cox and Steve Logistics with the end non-competes are talking about is ending these types of predatory practices. What TKO wants to do, they don't want you to just work for them. They want you to be part of them. And if you choose not to be, they will try to destroy you. And that is absurd. So my thoughts on the article and the story is pretty interesting. I read a little bit. I enjoyed the complaint. That's where we are. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Mike, what's up, brother? Good to see you in here. It is a great topic. Mike's with SPI Logistics, you guys. If you guys want to become a freight agent and take control and not deal with non-competes, hit him up, spi3pl.com. Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I'm not going to get into my experience with non-competes in the past on why I am vehemently against them, but you can just Google my name. If you guys want to find it, it's out there, it's public, and your boy fucking won. So anyways, besides the point, because that's an entire show of its own. Obviously I agree. Like it's fucking bullshit because this guy wants to support his family. This guy was just looking to move on with his life, and everything else. And this is why I'm against it. But I would say this, man, I would love to see some of these companies who are like so loud against non-competes. I'd like to see if they have non-solicits, because I feel like it's kind of tit for tat. I truly do. And before you go all lawyer here, sir, let me finish. All right. I think though, if like from a non-solicit agreement, frankly, my opinion on that is, how are you going to handle that phone call with a customer if they call you and be like, hey, our original sales rep left and you said we can't work with you, we're pulling the business, go fuck yourself. Had that happen specifically. So I know that's a very real thing. Again, but I also feel like from a non-solicit standpoint, it's a 1000% failure on leadership. If you do not know your accounts, if you are leading a sales team and those accounts that you're working for do not know your name, that's a fucking problem. So I think a lot of these things is I get from in my stance on like non-competes, if you are an equity shareholder in a company, you are like an actual owner of a company, or you are in senior leadership where you have intellectual property that stops you from going and creating a direct competitor based off of that. I get that, but a lot of those have money involved with them. I would, when it comes from a non-compete standpoint, if they're willing to pay you a fucking severance where, hey, it's a year, here's a 6-figure salary, you're going to sit out for a year from this. I could see that, but that doesn't happen in a lot of these cases. And that's my issue with it, is it's like you quit to go get your, you quit to go do something else. And then they find every fucking thing that you could possibly do. And because here's the thing. Could you, reverse the role here, sir. Now you are defending that non-compete. You are an attorney for a logistics company. The former sales rep says gets a job at like a Dick's Sporting Goods in retail. Would you find a ground to say, well, that person could maybe talk to a transportation manager and say, don't give freight to that said freight broker because of this? Could you make grounds to say that there's a direct correlation to that?
This is what I would say to every company that's thinking about all these post-employment restrictive covenants, non-solicits, non-competition, non-disparagement, non-disclosure, all of these different iterations. When you do this, you don't focus on your customer. You lose the insight to focus on your business and your customer. To your point about like, if you don't know the name of the account managers for your customer, you have a problem with that. Non-solicits are different because it says what you individually can't do. I can't go call on my buddy who I used to work with. My buddy can call me and I can take that business back. I don't have to go out and reach if I'm good at what I do. So when I tell people like great salespeople, you rent our contacts. You don't get to have them. They'll follow me no matter where I go. And in the non-competition space, this is, again, a taking away of your liberty. Now, if I want to make those enforceable, to your point, you pay somebody for that. You make sure they get a lawyer to redline it back to you. And it's usually involved with senior leaders or when you buy a business. It's not for the person fresh out of school who knows nothing about the industry. And by the time they realize this place is awful, they can't go do anything else. This is why these documents are so awful in the business.
And sometimes it's not even that this place is awful. They just want to change the scenery, or they're relocating, or there's something like it. And depending on how petty some organizations are, which I think some organizations position themselves as very fucking petty. I'm just of the mindset that it's one of those situations that, again, it's the importance of knowing what you are signing. All right. It is the importance of, I think personally, I wouldn't want to work somewhere like, say there is a non-compete. Say you're like, hey, fuck it, I'll sign a non-compete. It's fine. I'm cool with that. Because again, I'm not here to tell you how to live your fucking life. It's just about bringing awareness to this. If they don't let you leave with that non-compete to go have an attorney look it over, that would be a red flag to me. Like if
100%.
If you've never been in this situation before, because I think that there's probably a lot of people who are listening to this or are going to listen to this who are like, going to be looking for a job soon, or, maybe they're one of those fuckers who are quietly quitting, but that's another topic of conversation. But, they're out there and they're like, maybe have never done this before. Absolutely. I think that if you're handed that document to sign and you can't leave and have an attorney look that over, and again, pay for it. Attorneys, although I'm not always the biggest fan of them, also protect the shit out of my companies. So I work with them for a reason. They will notice any of these things that we might overlook, because I wouldn't know what I would be sitting down and signing. And it's also a harsh reality of how the real world works. And it's not as an idealistic thing as a lot of college courses like to fucking teach us on, because I went to business school and last time I checked, there wasn't a course on how to get around and non-compete in there. But anyway,
that's a great point. So to your point about having time to review it, these documents within the documents actually say you had enough time to review it. You were given the opportunity to find separate legal counsel. So this is the thing. That's a great point from Nicole. Yes, that's what they do. They bring you in, they say, have a great time with our company. And then by the time you've already invested, you can't just quit and leave because you've only been there for a few months. Here's a non-compete. Sign it or you're fired. Sign it or you're fired. Sign it or you're fired. That is the world that we live in. There are millions of people that have been put into a position of signing these non-competition agreements. And you can't negotiate very easily once you're already employed. So it is our job as industry professionals to call out the companies that put these in place in order to make them stop doing it. Because the only way they stop is not some legislation. It's not a website. It's you and me saying, we're not signing this garbage anymore. We're not going to do it. Not for our kids, not for our friends, not for our loved ones. We don't want to do that. This world is better off without those things in place.
Matt left for 2024. District 12.
We'll do something.
Yeah.
No, like, Chris, here's the thing is that you sent me this article. I hadn't read about it. I get a lot of stuff about non-competition agreements, but you sent this over to me and I read it and I heard in that complaint, a father trying to help his family and he can't do it. He can't do it. That contract, you're a DoorDash driver. You're breaking the non-competition agreement. And TQL knows that contract's unenforceable. They just know that most of the time you're not going to go after them. And when they do go after you, the court fixes it for them.
Not everybody has a brother that's an attorney. And I think this guy, whoever, again, I don't like you mentioned that you had talked to the attorney who's representing, because it's his brother.
Yeah, I said, congratulations. This is a great lawsuit.
I have a feeling this guy might be getting a lot of inbound business from this.
Dude,
so for him.
The thing about the TQL, the thing that bothers me about their non-competition agreement is it doesn't allow fee shifting for when they lose. So in the American system, this is a great little segue for people who want to know about the intricacies of law. In the American system, either party bears their own cost. So if you sue me or I sue you, I bear my cost, you bear your cost. If there's a way to shift the fee, so I win, you have to pay my fees. That is in these contracts. TQL's contract does not have fee shifting, only for them, only on their benefit. So when you get these documents, there are things you can look for to redline. One of them is fee shifting, because if you can shift the fees, oh my goodness, you can break these companies. You can break them. But without the fee shifting, you really can't do that.
Yeah. again, you guys,
I
this is
love the
why I
law.
had Matt come on here, because I'm not an attorney. I didn't go to law. I'm not really good at like studying shit. As a lot of you guys know who follow my stuff, I kind of shoot from the hip on a lot of stuff, but you know, it is the necessity of speaking with somebody who knows this stuff at a deeper level, because again, it's kind of like the clickbait shit that's out there. I don't want you guys just to read a headline and formulate an entire opinion based off of it, because I knew Matt would have taken the stance if he would have read this and been like, well, actually, this is the truth behind it. It's kind of like, because Matt and I don't agree on AB5, but that's why I have him on here, is because he brings another perspective to the table, because conversation is and the ability to have a conversation is what's missing in this country right now. It's not offensive. I'm not offended that Matt doesn't agree with me on everything, and that's why I wanted him to read this, because again, I had been sent this and I had seen this numerous times, but I also know the reputation that is out there with TQL in the market. And, you know, frankly, at the end of the day, you don't become a $7 billion company because you don't know what you're doing. This isn't an attack on anything other than this document in particular is the talking point. And for me, it's not, because it's not just them that have this, you know, like, and that's what I want people to be aware of here, is it's not just them. I personally, like, because I know a lot of people who work for that company and they're like, they love it there. You know, so it's like I see both sides of it.
They're forced to be there.
I do. Okay. I just don't.
What I want people to do is look at Jacob's profile. Look at like Patterson's profile.
Yeah, you
look at him.
threw it against the wall, bro.
Yeah, I threw it behind me. He needs a job. He knows the business. He knows what to do. This is the guy who's looking for work right now because he can't find it. So if this community can do anything, you have a vast network, Chris, and that network.
Exactly.
Look at this guy.
Sonny Sharp already said for him to reach out to him. Zem Logistics. I guarantee SBI would want to talk to him as well.
Any company that works with this guy, I'm going to promote you as hard and strong as I can, because we can win. We can beat these companies. They may have their legal techniques. We'll see what the response is from TQL on this tortious interference claim. We'll see what they say, but we can beat them in the court of public opinion. For shippers, there are options out there. $7 billion a year is a big company, but that's a small slice of the overall business. Find companies that share your values. I can tell you right now, TQL and I do not share values at all.
I kind of want to have TQL on. I hope if Chris Brown gets this recording sent to him, which I'm probably sure he will, I might get a cease and desist from this, but that's fine.
I would love to speak to Chris.
I would love to have him on.
I would have a great conversation. I'd be so polite. I'd be so polite.
No, you wouldn't. You're fucking. You look like your theatrics right now look like Tom Cruise describing Scientology a bunch of years ago. Remember, he was jumping up and down on the fucking couch. That's right. That's you with those fucking documents.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, I tried following TQL on Twitter. They have a setup in their Twitter account where they get to approve you to follow them. And they have 5,000 followers and they haven't approved me. I only have 500, so probably they're not going to approve me. But I can tag them on LinkedIn still, and I can still tag them on Twitter. But this is how you fight litigation in the modern era. Is you have your lawsuits, you fight in court, but there's also this public opinion that people can actually understand that the marketing you share with the thumbs up and the happy, ping pong table behind you is not the real version of your company. The real version of your company is who you sue and why you sue them.
Yeah. And again, though, man, like that's kind of the whole point of all of this, is educating the public on what you are actually signing. Like, absolutely. Again, some of you might say, go fuck yourself after I say this here, but TQL has this document. They're going to enforce that document. That's what they have decided to do as a company. Are they in the wrong for enforcing a document that an employee signed, though? And like the verbiage of it, I think is kind of beside the point here. I don't let me make myself clear. I fucking despise non-competes. I despise all of this shit that comes along with it. But it's kind of like, who's really to blame in this situation? Is it the verbiage that's inside of it that's unjust, comparatively speaking to other non-competes? Because I think a lot of non-competes are probably worded very similarly. And I'm going to say the one that I went through kind of worded in the same manner. I don't have the document in front of me. So is it the document itself, or is it the company that chooses to enforce it? Because I think everybody will always throw out that cease and desist. Like they have that's what you legal guys do when you graduate college, right? Like when you get your JD, you're like, you're the motherfucker who's emailing all that shit.
Well, what I would say is this, is that someone made a business decision. Every company exists for two reasons. That's to maximize revenue, minimize cost. They're not moral entities. They are amoral. They are designed to do a very specific thing. And so what I would push back on is that the minute these leadership teams realize that these non-competition agreements do not maximize shareholder value, or they realize it brings them publicity that they don't want to have, because we have to either buy our media or we earn our media. And you can earn your media by doing shitty things. And I think ultimately you are going to be bound. I signed a non-competition agreement. I had to be bound for a year where I could not compete in the business that I loved. And I was miserable from it. But if you sign the document, you will probably be beholden to it. That being said, when you do what TQL does, which is go out there and sue people and then go behind the backs of others, try to make them not get jobs as this complaint alleges happened, you are not a good actor. You are a bad actor working in bad faith, and you as an organization will be punished for that.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. Like that is, again, allegedly allegedly in that complaint, that is what happened. And that is complete and utter bullshit. Like the fact of the matter is I mean, to me, it's like, it's just fucking insane that you would waste the time doing that. You know, like, because again, it's like, even if that individual is a top performer, it's not like he went to a competing freight brokerage. It's not like that business left with him per se. So again, I think it's petty. At its core, it's petty.
Absolutely. And here's the thing I want to push back on a little bit further is, if what is alleged in the complaint is true,
allegedly,
we as lawyers, we are professionals. We are officers of the court. We have to hold up a certain level of decorum, even when we're not litigating in said court. And when you're doing that, and you are putting our profession to look like everyone thinks we are, we're all greedy and selfish and cruel. We're not. But when you read what allegedly Chris Brown did, when you see that, that just reinforces for me that there are people that are in this profession that ought not to be there. And if Chris Brown did what is alleged in that complaint, oh my goodness, he has done a shameful thing for our profession. Tortiously interfering with a prospective economic advantage for a former colleague is evil. It is evil. And our job as lawyers and people in general is to reject passivity, accept responsibility, and lead courageously. And if you are leading by suing your former people or sending text messages saying, do not hire this guy because we don't like him anymore, that is awful. Allegedly. Yeah. If you want to sue me for defamation, TQL, golly, do it. Golly, do it. It would be fantastic. It would be so much fun. I'd love to have the opportunity.
Would it be acceptable to wear a blaze orange polo and a backwards hat on, if I'm getting deposed? Is that
what you want to do when you're getting deposed, man? It makes me sad. We have a supply chain that's constantly in levels of crisis, and some of the stuff is self-inflicted wounds. And I'm just glad that you put together this program today. We had all these wonderful comments, people who will come to me and come to you separately and say, man, I had a terrible experience with non-competition agreements too. But let me be clear. This case is not about a non-competition agreement. This is a case about a company allegedly using its power and influence to destroy the economic advantage or potential job for a former coworker. That is just wrong. And I look forward to the
very personal, very, very personal is what it seems like from the outsider looking in, if the alleged complaint is deemed to be accurate. Again, but like to my whole point about all of this shit, you guys, you got to be fucking aware of what you are signing, because the whole hashtag end non-compete fucking is all wasted words if you continue to sign them and you don't go in and actually read those documents and what they say, because you do need to accept, you do need to accept responsibility for the documents that you do sign, but you do need to research all of that shit. I just think that, at the end of the day, you guys, this isn't anything other than you got to be very aware of what you're getting yourself into, because when you're fresh out of college, which a lot of us are, I wish I was fresh out of, anyways. When a lot of us are fresh out of college and signing these documents, we need to understand what is on the dotted line. And that's the whole point of this show. It's just about education. Be aware of what you're doing. No matter what, be aware of what you sign, because this is the shit that can happen. And most of the time, a lot of these companies just hope you're like, all right, they'll settle and, and then you'll make the mistake. Never fucking respond. That's what my attorney or during the time said, to like, don't even utter their fucking name in public. I got it from here. Yeah. Talk to an attorney right away if you're ever given a cease and desist about this shit. Cause that's what I did right away. And I had an absolute fucking gangster of an attorney who I really, really enjoy. Awesome. Matt Leffler is one of those also. Matt, everybody knows how to find the armchair attorney. I don't need to do that, but that's it for today, you guys. We want to keep it short, concise, and to the point. Action fucking packed. My man, Rob Bussey is doing a live show here, you guys. So if you got some time, jump over to his profile here.
Yeah, Rob.
EY. He's doing his live show on Trade Show Freight. Go over, jump over there and give him some support, you guys. He's out there putting himself out there because this shit isn't easy. You know, it's not easy to create content every single day. And you know, you got to show the support for people who are putting themselves out there and everything else. So that, you know, that's it for today. And, you know, honestly, you guys, if you guys saw value in this, share the show. That's all I can ask from each and every one of you is to share the show. Because if you see value in it, your network's going to see value in it as well. I appreciate it all so much, you guys. And we'll be talking to you tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, the Freight Coach Morning Show. We are the top morning show in transportation.